Hi YouTube, how are you doing? And welcome back to Phasmophobia. We just got the next major update for Phasmophobia. Finally, it's been a long time waiting, but here it is, and oh boy, is it a massive update. Look at the size of this patch notes, and in this video, I wanted to read it all for the first time with you guys, go over all of the changes, because there's obviously a lot of it, so that we know what to expect when we hop onto the update in this stream tonight, which I will be streaming at normal time, both on YouTube and on Twitch, so I hope to see you there. Now, the official launch of the update will be tomorrow, but official content creators got it one day early, and today we're going to be going over the patch notes. Now, what the devs also wanted me to mention is that the exact writing of the patch notes here could be different from the ones that we receive tomorrow, because they might clear some things up if we are confused about it. But anyway, let's hop in. Eventide is the name of the update. Major update version 0.10. Welcome back. We've got an update for you. Due to the size of this update, we have given it version number 0.10, even though the roadmap originally planned different content for that version number. The following updates planned in the roadmap will instead have increased version numbers, but the content and order of the updates will remain the same. All right, Point Hope. So this is to really quickly go over what's in this update. The main two things are Point Hope and the item changes, and there might be more than that, but I have not yet gotten to that part of the patch notes, obviously, because look at the size of this thing. So we're just going to go through it one point at a time to not be too overwhelmed. Point Hope was recently refurbished by a young family seeking something unique to call home. You'll be welcomed by a modern extension complete with a hallway, closets, and a downstairs bathroom before entering into the lighthouse main living room. Decorated with nautical knickknacks, you'll be faced with spiral staircases and round rooms as a first for ghost hunters. Okay, so we're gonna obviously be able to climb the lighthouse as well, which is gonna be amazing. And I really like, so if you've seen the pictures of this, I really like the way they've done this. I always was skeptical of a lighthouse map because I thought, how could they make something interesting out of just a spiral staircase going up? But that's not at all how this map is gonna be. The rooms are gonna be round, and they're gonna be stacked on top of each other in a tower, so they're all gonna be rooms. They're not just gonna be a staircase, which is gonna be really cool. This new location features 10 floors, 12 rooms, and a unique layout which will challenge players in new ways. I'm so curious. I can't wait to hop into here tonight. I'm not going to be hopping into it for this video. Obviously, we're just going to go over all the patch notes and all the changes and talk about how it's going to change the game going forward. You'll have to use different techniques for some of those pesky ghost abilities while playing on lower evidence game modes. Interesting. Unlocks at level 15. It's not going to be a problem for us because we're already level 100. Progression. So this is, they're talking about it really short. This is 1 point in the update, but it's obviously massive because it's been a really long time since we've gotten a new map. So I'm super excited to see this. I mean, look at this picture right here. It's going to be beautiful. I wonder how it's going to look like in sunrise weather and stuff. It looks mighty spooky. Progression. So this is, look at all these changes with the items. Let's see what they're going to do here. Several progression and equipment items have been adjusted based on community feedback. Player leveling and rewards. The required experience to level from 1 to 100 has been reduced by around 10%, making leveling faster. All right, it wasn't really a problem for me, but I know a lot of people had problems with this. Doesn't seem like a big deal. 10% is basically negligible in the greater scheme of things, but maybe it's gonna make a big difference for people that just needed that little extra boost to get going. Players can now level up to 9999 for each prestige. So usually it was only level 1000, I think, 999. But now once you reach prestige level 20, which is the current cap, you can keep going for a really long time. The required experience needed to level up between 999 and 99999 will increase every level. Okay, so if you're really going to be level 10,000, it's going to take forever to get there, I see. So they just want to give something for people to keep moving towards. But once they add, this is a little weird, because once they add new prestiges past 20, anyone who has actually grinded their way all the way to level 10,000 is going to just have to click the prestige button and lose all their progress. Seems a little weird, but I don't know. I'm not going to be doing this anyway. Setting meadows restricted is now categorized as a medium location. I really like that because it didn't really make sense. It was a very large map. This honestly makes it the smallest medium location, so you can get big money off of going there, but still, it definitely wasn't as small as a small location, so you just get slightly more money there. Increased rewards for correctly identifying the ghost in medium and large locations. I really love that. Medium from 125 to 150, large from 150 to 200, which also gets multiplied by the difficulty and also gets multiplied by the perfect investigation bonus, because this gets added on top of the perfect investigation bonus, as far as I know. So that really means that you're going to get a whole lot more if you do a proper investigation on a large map. That's going to be fun to see. You're going to see like 5,000 plus money from one game. So then here are all the changes. We're just going to go over them one at a time. Dots. Tier 1's light range has been increased. Okay, slightly better. Tier 3 scanning effect can now be paused by interacting with it while it is rotating. Something that I have personally asked for so freaking long, because this is honestly what sometimes makes the tier 3 dots so ass, is because if you have a small room or something, you have the whole scanning effect that basically doesn't do anything and only makes it worse. So it would be really nice if you can set them up in a perfect way so that the whole room is covered, which is like gonna be probably the standard going forward. Just pause it and set 2 of them up in the opposite sides of the room, so you no longer have to like tweak them around and get them to perfectly sync so you cover the whole room. This is just going to be way easier. Nice change. Love that. EMF. Tier 1's needle will no longer flicker near or past the 5 values during events and hunts to stop confusion with evidence. A lot of time people were like, I got 4 evidence. I got EMF 5, but it wasn't an EMF 5 ghost. It's because of this, because when you get a ghost event, it would go over 5 because it wanted to just let you know that the ghost was going kind of crazy, but obviously that's extremely confusing. When it's actually 5, it goes super far past 5. Tier 3's EMF 5 readings now play a unique sound. This is something that personally for me is going to be a big deal, because the one thing I really disliked about the Tier 3 EMF 5, or the EMF item, it's amazing, it's really useful, but it sounds so pathetic. When you get an EMF 5, it's like beep, 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 and I wanted it to go like the Tier 1, which goes completely crazy with a loud beeping noise. Like, it just feels way more impactful. So I'm hoping it's going to be a much more impactful sound. We're going to find that out tonight. Firelight. Increase the visible light intensity and range for both tier 1 and tier 2. Let's go. So every single weekly challenge, when they give us the tier 1 items for no fucking reason, now at least they're gonna be decent lights. Because that's one of my complaints about the weekly challenges, that they always give you tier 1 flashlights for no reason, but that's gonna be good. Tier 1 duration. Wait, what? Oh, this is firelight. Never mind. Sorry, I thought it was flashlight. Whoops, I misread that. Increase the visible light intensity and range for both tier 1 and tier 2. Okay. Tier 1 duration, scrap that about the flashlights. Tier 1 duration increased from 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. Tier 2 duration increased from 5 to 10 minutes. That's insanely long. That basically means that the time limit doesn't matter much anymore, which I kind of like that because it's kind of annoying. Firelights and igniters will now be extinguished accurately in heavy rain. For example, they will no longer be extinguished under house porches and inside small tents. I like that because that was always kind of weird. That's good. Headgear. A customizable keybind has been added to the control page for turning on and off headgear. It's kind of Stockholm Syndrome that we're so happy about. Like, I realize this to a certain degree, that it's kind of Stockholm Syndrome-esque for us to be so excited about something that should have been in the game for so long. But I am happy it's in the game, all right? Because this is something that I was like super annoyed by, and so many people were way more annoyed by it for a long time. That when you're using the head cams, you have to hold the flash, or you used to have to hold the flashlight button to get it to turn on or off, which meant that if a hunt started, you would turn off your flashlight, then realize you still had your head cam on, you would smack the flashlight button to hold it and turn your headcam off. But in doing so, you would turn on your flashlight first, then turn off your headcam, then you had to press it again to turn off your flashlight, which just meant you had your equipment on for way longer, which means that is really gonna matter in those life or death scenarios where you just broke line of sight with the ghost, you want to get away, you want to try and turn off your equipment as fast as possible. It just led to such a clunky situation that I'm glad is now gonna be resolved. It just didn't feel good. It was just kind of wacky. Turning headgear 1 on and off will now play different sounds to help know which state the equipment is in. Okay, so you know, this is kind of telling. Oh, you know, headgear tier 1? Wait, so you have to turn. Oh, interesting. I didn't even know this was a thing, to be honest. Wait, what the fuck? The tier 1 headgear would attract ghosts to you? Is that what I'm understanding correctly here? Wait, Really? I never use the tier 1 headgear because it's completely pointless in solo, and I almost always play solo. Wait, that's fucked up? Okay, well, that's good. So now you know when it's off or on, so you don't die to something you didn't even know was in effect. That's kind of weird. Okay, I did not know that. While within range of a hunting event or hunting ghost, tier 3 will now have visual interference. Okay, so this is a big deal, especially for apocalypse challenges, because the tier 3 headgear is the only reason that is even remotely doable, right? Or, well, remotely reasonable right now, because you don't have to hold a flash, well, you don't have to hold, like, a camera for a light source. You can instead just use the headcam, but this is gonna make that a whole lot harder. So yeah, it's also good because now you know that the ghost can actually detect that. Before, it would just completely stay the same, and you wouldn't have any idea that it was being like detected by the ghost, and the ghost was finding you because of it. All tiers will now play a new sound. All right, sick. Parabolic microphone. Tier 1's red light will now flicker when a sound is detected. Okay, so a little feedback on whether or not it is working, so you know what are real sounds and you know what are fake sounds, especially in something like Sunny Meadows. That's going to be a big deal because in Sunny Meadows, the whole ambience is going crazy. There's people screaming everywhere, and all of that is just ambient noise and has nothing to do with the ghost, so this could be very confusing. Tier 2 and Tier 3's sound indicator visuals will now last longer than the sound to improve legibility with short. I love how much of this, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I love how much of this is just something that I've complained about over and over and over again, and now has finally been added to the game with the button. With this is another thing that we have been in this endless battle to make the paramic useful, and one of the things I have always said is that the paramic will never be good if it doesn't give you additional information on top of the sounds, because hearing is way more powerful than pointing a paramic at something, because if you point the paramic in the direction, yes, you might be able to hear it slightly further, but you miss out on all the sound behind you because the paramic will muffle all the sound around you. So this way, you can actually use the tier 3 paramic for what it is used for what it's supposed to be used for, which is finding the ghost room. Because the main problem with the tier 3 was that you would get a sound, you would reorient yourself, and before you could even like see the dot again, it would already be gone, so you could never see where it came from. So now this is going to be a big deal, because then if there's a sound in the ghost room, you can actually like move your paramic around to see, oh, it's going to be in this direction, rather than it just being like kind of random where it came from and you're not really going to be able to tell. So I really like that. That's going to make the paramic maybe actually viable on the big maps, instead of it just being a complete meme that you only do for the objective. I really like this, as I said, obviously. Okay, tier 3 can now receive sounds one floor above or below the player using it, with new UI to show which floor the sound is coming from. That's actually crazy for big maps. Okay, that's something. I mean, this was never a thing. That's a big deal. With this and this in combination means that on something like high school, the tier 3 paramic might actually be absolutely insane, because you can just go to one side of the map, other side of the map. If you didn't pick anything up on the paramic, you can probably move on to the other side. That's really good. I like that. You now have to hold parabolic microphones to turn them on or off. Okay. I guess I don't know who benefits that, but all right. Thermometer. Holding down the use button while holding a thermometer. This is straight. This is we were talking about, I did a whole video about why I think some of the higher tiered items are dookie butt compared to the tier 1 items. And the main reason that the tier 2 and tier 3 are so bad is having to constantly hold, or having to constantly like click over and over again to get new values and waiting for every single one. And my suggestion was exactly this: holding down the use button while holding a thermometer tier 2 or tier 3 will now continuously update instead of having to restart after each reading. This is exactly what I thought would be a really good change, and I'm so glad that it's now in the game, because that is actually going to make the tier 2 and tier 3 potentially good. And I like where they're going with it. This is going to be a little fucked up. Look at this below here. I know people are already upset about this. Tier 1 now has randomization to make it consistent with the other tier. So this is actually a bug. It's not in the bug fixes here, but it was a bug. The tier 1 was always supposed to have random up and down effects. Now it's not going to be it's not going to be like that. So As far as I know, because I talked about this with the devs, because I was really concerned that this would completely ruin the tier 1 thermo and just make it very fucking annoying to use. But what I think it's gonna work like is, but I have to test that in game obviously, is that instead of it being just randomly going up and down all the time, the target temperature will be moving up and down a bit, which means that obviously the thermo will also go up and down a bit, but it won't just be going like up and down randomly around the temperature all the time. As far as I know, it's just gonna be a slight up and down motion so that it doesn't just show you the exact temperature all the time. Because the really powerful thing about the tier 1, which I've made like a 30-minute video talking about the tier 1 thermo, I sometimes still get comments like, this guy really be yapping about the thermo for 30 minutes, so I'm trying to prevent me from doing that in this video. But the main powerful thing about the tier 1 was that as soon as you picked it up, you got the exact reading of the temperature in that room, because the temperature settles after a while. So if you saw the temperature being right at around the flipping point between freezing and not freezing, and it stays there for a while, you could actually rule out freezing using the tier 1 thermo relatively easy. And what was also really useful is you can immediately spot roaming, because as soon as the ghost leaves the room, the temperature will go up, which if you pick up the thermo, you will immediately see it go up and down. Now, it will still be very useful for finding the ghost room, because the ghost room will always be significantly colder, after a while at least, than the other room. So if you walk into a room that's colder, it will still immediately go down. It won't just be going up and down randomly. It will go to the target temperature, but the target temperature will be fluctuating slightly. So that's the big change. So yeah, a lot of yapping about the tier 1, but I don't think it's going to be as detrimental as people think. I might even still use it for all we know. But I think actually this, let's see, tier 3 hold time has been reduced from 3 seconds to 2.5 seconds. Tier 3 randomization has been reduced to make it more accurate. I think with these two changes, I actually might become a tier 3 enjoyer. And luckily, I'm at level 100, so I get to use all of the different tiers, so we can test that tonight to see what's really going to be, if it's really going to be that big of a deal, this change, and if this is going to make this one a lot better. I think this is such a huge deal, because the really annoying part was that if you had freezing, you had to wait so long to get it. You have to press over and over again, over and over, and now you can just hold it for a while, and you can just actively gather a bunch of readings back to back. So I think this is a decent change, and I don't really think it's going to ruin the tier 1 either. I don't think this is going to be that big of a deal. Tripods and video cameras. Ghosts will now throw video cameras more consistently. That was definitely a thing they barely did. And also, this Tripod 1 knockdown chance increased from 20% to 30%. Tripod 2 knockdown chance increased from 10% to 20%. I have never seen a ghost throw a tripod, nor do I really use tripod, so I guess this is basically this is like completely pointless in my opinion, because of the way cameras used. Because cameras are used because you can just see the orbs by holding it. You don't have to place it to like go to the truck. The only reason to go to the truck after placing a camera is to check for Goryo dots, but even that you can do while being in the map. So there's not many times that I will place a camera and go look in the truck. I guess if you are a more safe player that likes to be outside of the map every now and then, or you're playing in a team where people are doing multiple things at once, this could be it will be beneficial to place the cameras, and this is going to make it slightly harder to have them stick in place. But yeah, just a slight change, because this basically didn't matter at all. The ghost would almost never throw my video cameras. Sanity medication. Tier 1 restoration time. Also, by the way, I'm sorry to the people, like, sometimes I get comments, why didn't he just read the patch notes without saying anything about them? I think the only reason you would watch a patch notes video is for someone who knows a lot about the game to give additional information to everything in the patch notes, because if you just wanted to read the patch notes, you can just read the patch notes. I think the whole value of a patch notes video comes from having someone who actually knows a lot about the game talking you through what these changes are going to mean for the game going forward. So yeah, sorry to the people who just want to read the patch notes. I'm here to give some additional information. That's why I make these videos. Sanity medication. Tier 1 restoration time has been decreased from 20 seconds to 30 seconds. Okay. Wait, what? It's been... decreased to 20 seconds from 30 seconds. Tier 2 restoration time has decreased to 10 seconds from 20 seconds. So, yeah, Tier 3 will now instantly refill your sprint endurance in addition to keeping it full for 10 seconds. This was really stupid. The Tier 3, if you used it when you were out of stamina, you would have to wait for the stamina to regenerate before you could actually sprint, which I would classify that as a bug, basically, but at least it now works as intended, and it still lasts for 10 seconds, but it has the 10-second effect effect on top of draining your sanity. And then this just makes these slightly better because it was really annoying having to wait. Now, what I still absolutely hate about the sanity medication that I wish that they would have added here, I've been complaining about this for a long time, is that you don't get, like, especially if you don't have the screens, you don't get any feedback from using the sanity medication anymore. Let's say that you got a hunt, and you want to know if it was an early hunt, and your sanity pills regenerate 25% sanity. What you could do before is pop a pill, pop another pill, and then try to use another one to see if you were right at around hunting range or if it was like an earlier hunt, because it doesn't let you use sanity pills if you're too high sanity. If you're above 95% sanity, it doesn't let you use the sanity pills at all. So you could actually use that the fact that the game didn't let you use them to figure out what range of sanity you were in. However, with the new way of sanity pills, you have to take a pill, wait for 20 seconds, then see if you can use another one, wait for 20 seconds, then see if you can use another one, wait for 20 seconds. So it's just changed this like really cool like trick where you could use the sanity restoration, or the sanity, if you were able to use a sanity pill to figure out what range of sanity you were in when the hunt started. You can't do that anymore without wasting a bunch of time waiting for the sanity to recharge. So what I've wanted to see for the longest time is for them to just instantly calculate, after the sanity pill, what will my sanity be? And if that is too high, don't let the player use another sanity pill. Why, when you are at 10%, when you're at 90% sanity, can you eat 4 sanity pills? Because when you use the first one, it starts regenerating. Then you can just spam the other ones before it reaches 95. And then you've used 4 sanity pills for no fucking reason. But if the screens were broken, you might not have even known that. It increases toxic behavior between players because some fucking idiot can just eat all the sanity pills. It removes a really strategic thing you could do with the sanity pills to know where your sanity was at before a hunt started. It just is so much worse now than it used to be, and it would be so easy to fix by just calculating what your sanity would be after the regeneration is over, and only if that is not too high will it let you use another pill. I really don't understand why they haven't done that yet. Anyway, that was a pretty technical thing. If you understand what I said, I don't know if you agree with me, let me know. If you didn't, don't worry about it. It's just me yapping about something that has annoyed me for a while. I just wish they would change this slightly, but anyway, it's just a slight buff to the sanity pills. Not too much to complain about. I just wish they did another change as well. Sound sensors. Mute buttons have been added to each sound sensor struck UI. Kind of useless, but I guess if you were annoyed by the sound sensors doing a bunch of noise in the truck, you can turn them off. Spirit box. Small I'm going over these a little in more detail, obviously, because these are very gameplay impacting than some of the like bug fixes. I'm just going to read those more fast. Spirit box. Small environmental lights, such as lamps, must now be turned off to receive a response. Yikes. All right, disgusting, but sure. Does that mean you also have to turn off your firelight and stuff? That's kind of confusing for new players, but sure. You must now hold the spirit box to use it with text-based voice recognition. What? I didn't even know you could do it without that. Alrighty. UV lights, tier 1 and tier 2, have been swapped for better progression during leveling. Okay, so as you all know, there's 2 tier 1 items that I will always use over their tier 3 counterparts, which is the thermo and the UV light. Now the thermo might actually be in a better state than tier 3, but for the UV there was basically nothing they could do to make it better without just nerfing the glow stick into the ground. So they've just decided to swap it around, which, yeah, there you go. So now I still think I'm still going to use the glow stick over the tier 3, but I guess they have it like this. I really think the glow stick should just be more powerful and become the tier 3 item, but whatever. So yeah, that would be so cool. Imagine a whole light lit up by a glow stick. That would just be a cool effect. It might hurt the performance a bit or something. I don't know. So yeah, they've been swapped around because the glow stick is just so much better than the tier 2 flashlight. Optimization. Here we go. We've drastically improved the performance of several areas of the game, which will result in fewer stutters, higher FPS, and quicker load times, especially on low-end machines. The number of fixes and optimization will be too many to list, but the following have received the biggest adjustment. Photos and video cameras. If they don't fucking, later down the line, if there's not a line in here that says you can now delete photos from your book, I'm going to fly over to CJ and give him a firm handshake, because that is fucked up. Anyway, photos. This is not even about that, but that better be down here somewhere. The number of fictitious and optimization will be between this, blah, blah, blah. So what has been mostly improved? Photos and video cameras, shadows, the weather and sky effects, UI, physics, audio, reflections, textures, and shaders are now streamed to the GPU to significantly reduce VRAM and RAM usage. 10 doors cloud system has been completely overhauled to increase performance. So this might actually make tents flying impossible. We'll see. That's like the one glitch that's always so funny to see, that it just never gets changed. It's just always in the game. It doesn't do anything. It just allows you to get on top of tents sometimes. Training. Let's see. Lower the temperature of training to make the freezing temperature sections much faster to progress. Reduce the amount of equipment to 1 in each room. Okay. You will now have to... It doesn't make any sense that there was much more. You now have to get EMF 5 to get past the EMF room. I thought this was already in a previous patch notes, but I guess it didn't work, so they just added it. They added it back in because now they actually fixed it. Props will now get thrown more frequently in the EMF room. Replace the glow stick with the UV torch as per the tier changes above. No, don't do that. No, that's going to make it so much more confusing for new players, because the glow stick is just so much better. All right, I guess they want you to use the tier 1 items so you know how to use the tier 1 items and aren't surprised when you go into the game and you have a different item. I guess that makes sense, but yeah. Okay, no, that does make sense. In the ghost orb sections, players will now need to be more accurate with the video camera to avoid accidentally completing a section without seeing the ghost orb. Yes, that happened all the time. New. Here we go, new stuff. New ID cards can now be unlocked. Lighthouse Keeper. Correctly identify the ghost on Point Hope 50 times. Okay, so you get a special badge for playing Point Hope a bunch. Now this is kind of it's just a trophy for doing it a bunch, but this also shows me that they want to do this more, and this would be really cool if there were actual badges to show for the achievements you can get in game, because as of now, it's like, especially with the new grinding system with the custom difficulty, where you can basically not that it matters really, but if someone is super high level, super high prestige, it doesn't mean shit. They could just have done like some super cheesy, really high difficulty on a map where that is super easy and just spammed a bunch, and if they didn't figure out the ghost right away, they just do it again. Like there's just so much grinding now that you can do that doesn't require much skill. So there's not really a distinction anymore that you can do to show off, like, hey, look, I've done this cool thing. So I like stuff like this because it'll actually have some player customization stuff you can work for. Because I really like it when games that I love have things that I can do to feel like I completed them. Like, oh, I've done this achievements. I've completed all achievements in Terraria. I remember grinding for that. I completed all achievements in Dark Souls 3, one of my favorite games of all times. Like, doing that just kind of, I mean, maybe it's not good for the developers, but especially when I really love a game and I want to take a break from it, having achievements helps me a lot with that, because it gives me a reason to like work for something and I feel really accomplished, like, oh, I've completed this thing, now I'm gonna play another game and then come back when they add new stuff, add new achievements. So I think this is really cool. Having stuff like this and expanding this would be really cool. Then we have Apocalypse Bronze, Silver, and Gold ID card badges as well, which is the different challenges you can do in Sunny Meadows. Note, if you have already completed any of the Apocalypse Challenge, you will need to complete a single game of any kind to redeem your new ID card rewards. Honestly, what I hope this would say is you have to do it again. I know that would piss literally everyone off except me, but I would have loved to have to do it again. I'm probably going to do a video anyway on this, so you know how to do these challenges on the higher difficult, or on the new update with the new stuff and the new like head cam. It's going to change stuff around. So yeah, I'm still going to make videos on this because there's probably a lot of people out there who haven't done these challenges yet, and you're going to need some support because it's very difficult. Players can now carry an igniter in addition to 3 other items. What the fuck? Sorry, I'm leaving a pause there because that is insane. Players can now carry... This is just... We have added an extra inventory slot to Phasmophobia. Am I reading this right? Non-VR players can only carry 1 igniter at a time, similar to flashlights. Igniters now have their own slot in the VR belt. When placing a tier 1 igniter in this slot, you won't be able to remove it again until all matches have been drawn. That's kind of stupid, but alright. What? Okay. So we have just gotten an extra inventory slot. Because this is absolutely insane for the Apocalypse Challenge, dude. Holy fuck, this is huge. I didn't even expect this at all. Okay, so this might genuinely be the biggest change in the entire patch notes. I haven't even seen what comes after this, but I don't think anything can beat this, because this means that once you get into hunting range, or when you're doing a challenge or anything, you just have a completely extra item slot that you could fill with an evidence item. It's gonna mean that taking stuff into large maps like Sunny Meadows is gonna be a lot less annoying. If you're doing the Apocalypse Challenge, this is an incredible boon, because you can now actually like carry something else, because the main problem with the Apocalypse Challenge is that you're so freaking slow that staying safe by holding a smudge stick while bringing items means you have to bring one item at a time back and forth, which takes fucking forever. Now you can do that twice as fast because you can carry 2 items. This is really good. It just means that you, and no longer will you have a smudge stick in your hand and forgot to pick up the lighter and die to the ghost killing you. This is amazing. I really like this change. Holy shit, that's gonna be cool to play with. So now you can just like put a lighter in your inventory at the start of a game, grab a smudge stick when you need it, and it's also gonna make it way more like ingrained in the playstyle of everyone, because if you're not already using smudge sticks to stay safe during the hunt, you are playing Phasmo completely wrong. It is the most important mechanic in the entire game for hunts. You can figure out lots of ghosts during hunts, you can stay safe during hunts, you can use smudge sticks to prevent hunts, you can do ghost abilities you can detect with hunts or with smudge sticks. There are so many things you can do with smudge sticks. You can even increase the activity by 2 times the amount for a certain period. For like 60 seconds, you get double the activity if you use a smudge stick. It does so many things, and this just makes it like more ingrained in the playstyle of everyone, and it just means that you have an extra inventory slot most of the time. So this is really cool. I really like that. Okay, that's huge. Unlocking a new reward that is not tied. Why is that even here? I mean, I guess in the new section, I see. That's fucking cool. Let me know what you think about that. I want to know. Unlocking a new reward that is not tied to leveling up will now show up a pop-up on the mission summary screen. Sorry, I'm unlocking a new reward that is not tied to leveling up will now show a pop-up on the mission summary. Okay, so it didn't do that before? I didn't know that, because I already unlocked basically everything. Okay, I see. So if you get like a badge or something that's not related to leveling up, you can see that on the mission screen now. All right. Ghost Reading Books. I hope this is also fixed, that if you skip the like super slow countdown of experience, it skips also giving you the pop-ups of the things you've unlocked, because it does that sometimes, which is very annoying. Ghost Reading Books now play a new sound when closed. Cool. Added Kate and Catherine to possible ghost first names. All right, more names. That means that Lisa is going to be even less common. Hopefully we'll still find some Lisas. I haven't seen a Michael Jackson in so fucking long, because they keep adding. I'm honestly... the big shout out to the Kates and Catherines out there. I don't mean to insult you in any way, but it is kind of unfortunate that they've added so many names now, because it has really reduced the density of fun names for me. Because there was John Johnson, Thomas, Michael Jackson. There were like a bunch of serial killer names. There were so many fun combinations back in the day of first name, last name. I had entire series of videos just about every time I would get a fun ghost name, I would just make that into a video to just highlight it. It was just like I don't know, it was a really fun experience for me, as when I was starting out playing, like when I was starting out as a creator, I've had to figure out, how do you make videos about a game? How do I make I've made over 1,300 Phasmophobia videos. How do I make 1,300 videos on the same game without every single video seeming the same? It is creating some kind of new thing in a lot of them. Some of them are obviously going to be similar. And one of those things for me was based on the name. If you had a fun name, you could like play it up. You could do a little, like play it in a more immersive way, do a longer investigation, skip out on some of the OP strats and play a little more risky, do some fun stuff. Like, it was just a dance with the ghosts, and it kind of feels like that the more names get added, the more that gets taken away, but it obviously adds variety, and it adds people's names. So if you're named Kate or Catherine, you're going to be happy with this change, obviously. Anyway, ghosts can now leave single fingerprints on all small lamps and TV room. Oh, this is going to be an insanely long video, by the way. I apologize. Hope you got some drinks to start this off. Feel free to pause the video, grab some snacks, and come back. Ghosts can now leave single fingerprints on all small lamps and TV remotes in all locations. It was so weird. This honestly felt like something straight out of the early days of Phasmo, when like barely anything would have fingerprints, and it was so hard to take photos and to get fingerprints that they've never changed. This is insane. I'm so happy that's now a thing. All right, so that's going to make getting fingerprints easier. Changes. Here we go. Lots of changes, probably. Equipment. You can no longer swap inventory slots while taking a photo, all right? I think this is to fix a bug with the photo cam. There was a bug with the photo cam, which I didn't even know this was a mechanic, by the way. If you have a tier 1 photo cam and you take a photo, so the tier 1 photo cam doesn't count as an electronic for the ghost detecting you during a hunt, unless you take a photo. When you take a photo, it will hear it, I think, or like detect something. That's like the idea behind it, and then it will find the photo cam and be able to detect it during that hunt. However, what happened is that if you took a photo with the tier 1 photo cam and immediately swapped away from it, it would never turn this off. So it would permanently be a beacon for the ghost to find you, which basically meant that if you did that at any point, the photo cam would not work as intended anymore. So they've now made it like this, so you can no longer swap the photo cam, break it, and make the ghost find you at all times when you're holding a tier 1 photo cam, which you might not have even known this was a thing. This is why I find it so interesting to talk about the patch notes, because you see a line like this, you go on to the next. I see a line like this, and I see all the stuff that happened behind it, which is just fun to talk about for me personally. Removed flashlights, because that was something that I talked about with the bug fixers or the bug detectors, because I was like, what the fuck happened in this clip? Why did the ghost find me? The camera's not working as intended, and then they told me why it was that way. Remove flashlight from hide and seek extreme as they were disabled from the settings. I thought this was just like a big middle finger. Every time they have flashlights when they're not enabled, I just hear like in the background hee 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 in CJ's voice. I just hear him like laugh behind me, because I thought that was just always a troll, similar to how they sometimes add sanity pills when there's no sanity pill regeneration, so you can take them but it doesn't do anything. Anyway, Deja Vu Weekly now has UV tier 1 instead of tier 2 to keep it a flashlight. Okay, I see, because okay. It would be nice to have both of them, because so this is the old Phasmo Weekly. In the old Phasmo, you had both glow sticks as well as a UV light. So it would be nice if you could get like a combination of both. That would be interesting. But anyway, Glow in the Dark Weekly now has tier 2 instead of tier 1 to keep it a glow stick. All right, obviously. Asking the Ouija board bone location will now drain 20% sanity, down from 50 due to bone rewards not being included in the multiplayer. Wait, what the fuck? What do you mean? Wait, huh? Where, did I miss that in the patch notes somewhere? I don't remember them saying that bone rewards are no longer being included in the reward multiplier, unless it never was, and I just didn't realize. Wait, what? Am I stupid? Okay, I mean, that's good, because asking the bone was always, like, super impactful on your sanity. So now you can, especially on big maps, you can go for that perfect game without completely nuking your sanity by finding the bone. Okay, I don't, maybe we'll see this later in the patch notes, or I just have been under the wrong impression this whole time. Lighting the summoning circle candle will now instantly end the setup phase. Okay. When are we gonna get summoning circle slight buff? Because the summoning circle right now is still super ass. I'm not gonna go on a 10-minute tangent on why I think the summoning circle is so bad. It comes down to that you basically need to have 80% sanity to be able to light them, which is just insanely annoying, because it drains sanity, and if you don't have enough sanity, it will not allow you to light any more candles, so go fuck yourself, I guess. Anyway, it's just annoying. Ghosts, non-ghost writing ghosts, now close the book after throwing it. Wow. Okay, so they made it way more clear. So before, if you saw a ghost throw the book and it wouldn't write in it, you knew it wasn't a writing ghost. But now, which I kind of like that, because that meant that if you placed the book, you should remember where the book was originally, and then if you came in the room later and it was moved, you would be like, oh, wait a minute, it's been moved. It must have been the ghost that threw it, so it must not be a writing ghost. I thought that was kind of clever. So now that's just going to be a whole lot easier, because now you no longer have to remember where the book was, as when you see it closed and there's no writing in it, I'm assuming you have to place it again to see if there's writing in it. You know, it is not a writing ghost, especially on professional. That's going to be a big deal. On Nightmare, not so much, or higher difficulties, not so much, but still, it's still really cool, and it's going to make a nice sound as well. Ghosts can no longer interact with already knocked down paintings. Didn't know that was a thing. Shades can no longer blow out fire sources or write in ghost books if there are any players in the room to keep their strength consistent. Huge, man! That is a completely new trick. This is like one of those things that I will talk about endlessly in no evidence videos to come, because this means that if you're in the room with a ghost and you get a ghost to blow out a candle, you can now rule out a shade, which ruling out shades is very good because the only way you can really do that now is by placing a crucifix. And if the ghost uses a crucifix in the room that you're in, it meant it tried to hunt in the room that you're in, usually. And the ghost, a shade cannot hunt in a room that you're in, so it can't do that. So then you can rule out a shade. But this is cool. New tricks to rule out a shade. And if you get writing while you're in the room, this, however, it basically buffs no evidence runs, and it nerfs normal runs, because not writing in ghost books when there's players around means that it's going to be way harder to get the ghost writing against shades. So shades are going to be fucking up a lot of new players, especially. But I guess they already do anyway. Improve the ghost's ability to interact with closed doors, alright? Because it would always just touch it but not actually move it. Now it's probably going to open it more. Improved Banshee AI targeting when they stalk a player, alright? I wish to see the ghost will now limit your vision after the ghost event instead of before to allow you to see the ghost. Thank you. I mean, it was kind of funny that you would say, I wish to see the ghost would spawn, but you couldn't actually see it. This is good because then you can actually take a photo. It was always so stupid that you basically, this wish was only really to get a hunt rather than to take a ghost photo. But this is once again a buff to an item that is already OP as fuck when the summoning circle is right fucking there in the horrible state that it is in right now. So I really hope they reconsider something with the summoning circle to make it like remotely decent again, because it is so fucking terrible. Not only does it not help you find the ghost room, it also drains all your sanity. Half the time it doesn't even work. If you don't have enough sanity, goodbye. It's just so annoying. Anyway, can you see I'm annoyed by the summoning circle? Increase the sanity drain on one of the ghost events to match other events. Love how unclear this is, so you have no idea what they're talking about. Let me pull open the lore book for you and explain this. Since the dawn of Phasmo, there has been one special ghost event that no one knew even existed. It is a ghost event where the ghost spawns in, walks towards you without making footstep sounds, without closing doors. This, specifically not closing doors and not making footstep sounds, were the two distinguishing factors that changed this ghost event from all other ghost events. And that particular ghost event, where the ghost wouldn't close doors, wouldn't make footstep sounds, drained only 5% sanity compared to the normal 10% sanity, which meant that if you had an Oni and you would get this ghost event, Onis double the sanity drain on ghost events. So it would double the 5 to a 10, make it seem, when you go back to the truck, wait a minute, I just lost 10% sanity. It's supposed to drain 20 because Onis multiply the 10 of a ghost event into 20. It can't be an Oni. I'm gonna leave with shade or whatever or something else. And then you see the end result, it is an Oni, and you go, what the fuck is this stupid shit? That's how I've been mad for many times, because I didn't know this was a thing. This has always been in the game. There's always been this random extra ghost event that for some reason drains 5% sanity compared to 10% for no reason. So yeah, they don't explain it here at all, but that's why I exist, so I can explain that to you. So now, this ghost event that drained 5% sanity will now accurately drain 10% sanity, so you can rule out Onis better. So there you go, lore master achieved. Environment. Wait, what? Environment? Paranormal Paparazzi and hide-and-seek weekly challenges will now take place in Point Hope. Okay, so they've been moved. Drastically improved the sunrise visuals. I can't wait to see that. Turning on several light switches in a room, but not all, will now drain sanity at a reduced rate instead of the full sanity drain speed. Okay, so... wait, what? Turning on several light switches in a room, but not all, will now drain at a reduced rate instead of the full sanity drain speed. This is worded incorrectly, I think, because what they mean to say here is, so if you had a room with multiple light switches, such as the master bedroom on Tanglewood, it has the bathroom, it has the storage closet, it has the main room, that all counts as one room for the ghost room. If you turned on one of the 3 light switches in the storage closet, in the bathroom, or in the bedroom, it would stop sanity drain from all of the rooms, as far as I know. And what I think they've done here is that now, if you don't turn on all the lights, it will drain it at a reduced rate. Unless it was like this, but I don't remember that ever being a thing. Okay, so maybe they changed this, and then I don't know, maybe I don't remember it being in the patch notes, but anyway, it doesn't matter what it used to be, it matters what it is now, and what it is now is that it will reduce the sanity drain, but it won't stop it completely. So you actually need to turn on all the lights in a room if it has multiple rooms if you want to benefit from the complete blocking of the sanity drain. So yeah, it's just gonna be more normal. It's gonna be better. Props that don't move when hit with another prop will no longer play an additional impact sound. Okay. Adjusted all weather's distant fog color for better blending with the horizon. Removed Point Hope teasers from all maps and lobby. Wait, you better not remove it from the Maple Lodge, because it's on the map there. That's so cool. It better stay there, I hope. So we're gonna have the, like, UV Easter egg. Oh, they probably mean the riddle. Honestly, I wish they would keep the riddle. I kind of like the riddle as, like, a legacy thing. I don't know. I guess they removed it, though. Optimized assets. I have a video on that from a long time ago if you want to check out what it was if you're watching this in the future for some reason. Optimized assets across all maps, okay? Lowered resolution for light cookies, flashlight, light shapes, etc. But instead, increased resolution for skylight and shadows, okay? Move the green bowl and Edgefield living room to help with the lamp interaction and new fingerprints. Okay. The Tanglewood utility room can now be closed correctly by the ghost. I didn't even know that was a problem. Medium tense windows now have correct collision on both sides. Okay, adjusted audio effects to help identify if sounds are above or below you. I like that. Sounds that are one flow above you are bass boosted and muffled. Sounds that are one flow below you will be muffled and quiet. All right, that's a huge change. It's going to make hearing sounds harder, but it's going to actually help you to identify if it's above or below you. I like that. I like that more skill. Anything that adds skill expression to the game, I'm always for, because I love how much you can learn about Phasmo already, and adding little tricks like this is just gonna mean that you can actually way better hear where the ghost sounds are coming from. Sounds that are 2 floors above you or below you will have more extreme effects and volume reduction, okay? The heartbeat sound will... So this is gonna mean that on Lighthouse, it's gonna be really hard to hear sounds that are at the top of the lighthouse, but that makes kind of sense. The heartbeat sound will no longer be altered by reverb or other audio effects. Audio levels for the ambient room... audio levels for the ambient room tone and Ouija board have been remastered to bring them in line with other sounds. Reduced the volume for the writing sounds for Ghost Writing Book Tier 3. Okay. Difficulty, money, and prestige level up pop-ups have received new images. Improved color accuracy of several UI components. Increased the width of the scroll bars in the shop to make it easier for VR players. Several ID cards titles have been renamed and shortened. Okay, changed, these are just slight change, it doesn't matter too much. Changed interaction amount to activity level and custom settings to better reflect what it does, all right? Fixes, player movement will no longer be affected by held equipment. This is a big one. If you've ever seen me complain about how especially the tier 3 smudge sticks, if you're crouched and running around with it, it will push against you, so you can't walk in all directions, which can easily kill you if you're trying to crouch loop around an object, which I hope they haven't fixed crouch looping yet. I hope so. That is something they said they wanted to change. So yeah, that is really nice. You will no longer be pushed by stuff, so you can just, like, hold a tier 3 smudge stick and not worry about it pushing you around. Stamina recovery will now correctly start even if you are still holding down the sprint button but not moving. That is very funny. There is no longer a visual glitch when rapidly equipping and unequipping the headgear as one of the player models, okay? You can now change your sprint mode while in a game in VR. Fix several areas where VR teleport movement could not teleport to. Changing your sprint mode to hold from toggle on PC while sprint is toggled on will no longer keep you sprinting without pressing the sprint button, okay? Removed sprinting FOV increase due to a graphical issue, okay? Like, it would zoom you backwards, which was especially silly if you had no sprint. You would press the sprint button, it would zoom in as if you were going super fast, but you didn't move any faster. It was always funny. I guess they just removed that, though. Ghosts. Hanging paintings thrown by the ghost will no longer fall through the floor. The ghost and bone can no longer get stuck in several locations. Nice. Yurei can now use their ability on doors that are open at the start of the game. I didn't even know that was a problem. Demon and Banshee attempting to use their ability but failing will no longer add to the ability use stats. Thank you so fucking much. This was so annoying about Banshees that they would show like super high values for no reason, even though it doesn't feel like they roam to you that much at all. So I appreciate that, because the Banshee is not supposed to be able to use its ability on a different floor, but it will still try to, so then it will just add a bunch of stats when it doesn't actually do any of it. Ghost will no longer keep throwing the same object over and over, and will instead choose more varied items within its interaction range. That's very funny. All right. Hide it. That's kind of sad though, because I kind of like that it would just do like one interaction, spam a bunch. Like it would ring a phone and then ring it 4 more times really quickly, for example. Hide and Seek Extreme now correctly has 3 evidence instead of 2. I need to fucking talk about this shit, because this drove me mad and I felt like I was going insane. This exact patch note has been in a previous patch notes, and it just didn't do anything. I felt like I was going crazy because I complained so much when I first ever encountered the Hide and Seek Extreme. I thought it was ridiculous that it had 2 evidence when it's already such a hard challenge. And for context, it's the one on Camp Woodwind where you have 0 sanity, you have like little hiding spots, the ghost is really fast, and you just have to hide. The Grey Spirit is long, which by the way, I don't think didn't used to be very long. They increased that as well. And what they said, it was a bug, apparently. It wasn't supposed to have 2 evidence, but that made it like even harder, because the fast ghosts are really hard to figure out sometimes. Based on speed, and if you didn't have a ghost that you could figure out based on speed, you were kind of fucked that you could only find 2 evidence. So this just made it one of the hardest challenges in the entire game. Then they added that in the patch notes that they fixed it, but then I played it again and I was like, what the fuck, I cannot for the life of me find the 3rd evidence. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. And then so many people in chat were saying, no, I got 3 evidence, trust me, I totally got them, when they probably, I don't know why they would say that, because they fucking didn't, obviously, because it was bugged. So yeah, anyway, I'm pissed off, but that's finally fixed, hopefully this time. Now correctly has 3 evidence instead of 2. So yeah, that is the video that was titled like the developers accidentally made this challenge 10 times harder. I had a video like that a while ago. That was about this. Anyway, Ghost Event player detection will no longer include dead players if they didn't move after dying. What? Interesting. You're just standing still and it does a ghost event on you. Equipment. Motion sensor 2 and 3 detection sounds can now be heard on all floors. Parabolic microphone 2 now displays the correct volume values. You can no longer get readings on the parabolic microphone when in the truck. Interesting. Dots 1, that's kind of interesting. Dots 1 and UV light 2's light will no longer stop emitting when placed in some areas. Changing the sound sensor size in the truck will now only change the area of effect UI instead of the equipment UI. Okay, so there's, if you didn't even know this, you have some of the sound sensors have different ranges that they can detect that, and you can change that in the truck. You can make them detect further away or closer, so you can like kind of pinpoint where the ghost is, even though no one ever uses the sound sensor. The parabolic microphone will no longer pick up sounds when in the truck. Is that not the exact same thing that you just said? Okay, it's 2 separate things about the same issue. EMF reader will now point the needle closer to the EMF value instead of including the EMF values above and below it. Interesting. Okay. You can no longer take multiple photos of the same EMF interaction by using your inventory to refresh the EMF spot. Thank you. I have not abused this really, but I've shown it every now and then to see if it's still broken, and it used to be broken for a long time, that if when it goes through one item, you could pick it up, throw it back down, take another photo, pick it up, throw it back down, take photos. You could take 10 photos off the same item, but now they have fixed that. Headgear 2 will no longer be detected by the ghost when on if flashlights are disabled in the custom settings. Interesting. Okay, let's go. An active... Wait, does that mean that the Headgear 2 is just straight up better than the Headgear 1? Because you can turn it on without turning it on? Unless I misunderstood the patch note above where it said that you had to turn off and on the tier 1 headgear, which I assumes also attracts the ghost to you. I don't know. Anyway, this is barely matters because I only play single player anyway. An active parabolic microphone will no longer muffle your audio when picked up while holding another item. I did not even know that was an issue. All sound sensor tiers and flashlight tiers are now more stable when placed in VR. You can no longer light other people's incense by physically moving a fire source into it. This is still personal. When I did that to CJ that one time. VR players can now consistently place a video camera on a tripod that is still attached to the truck wall. The Ouija board will no longer break when saying goodbye with zero sanity. Thank you. Thank you. Fucking thank you. Holy shit. I felt like I was going insane. There was a bug in the game. Well, it was apparently not a bug, but in my opinion, it was a bug where saying goodbye will just break the board if you have no sanity. Because if you don't know, they changed this without putting it in the patch notes, but they completely changed the way the Ouija board works. You can now ask any question, regardless of your sanity, as long as it's above 1%. You can ask, where's the ghost? With 1% sanity, it will take all you, it's like an all-in. You go all in poker. It takes all your sanity, puts you at 0, but you can still go all in. You can just say it with 1% sanity, but then it put you at 0, and then you would say goodbye after, and it would break the board. Which is, by the way, a huge buff to the Ouija board that it works this way, because that means if you have very little sanity, you can just ask a really important question like, where are you? Or I guess, where's the bone? Even though that has been reduced now. And then just take sanity pills afterwards, which is really, really useful. And you can ask it multiple times. Take one sanity pill, ask it again. Your sanity will still keep regenerating after you ask it. Ask it a few times. Like, you can ask a question. You can basically ask, where are you, for completely free. If you take a sanity pill with you to the board, pop it, immediately ask while it's still regenerating your sanity. And then it only takes the little bit that it has already regenerated and keep regenerating the rest. So you basically got the question completely for free. So yeah, it's way better now. And I also think that the Ouija board is already really strong, but yeah, there you go. So that's a little trick for you if you never thought about that. So you can ask any question as long as you have even 1% of sanity, and now it will no longer break, so that's good. Crucifix 3 will now be fully used for all players after it prevents a cursed hunt, alright? Extinguished matches will no longer light other objects. You no longer need to swap hands between each tarot card draw in VR. Grabbing, swapping props or equipment in VR will no longer set the wrong hand position in rotation. Igniters can no longer be used if another player fully used up the fuel. Tripod 3 placement highlight is now visible when first placed. Okay. UI for text voice recognition will no longer get... This is so many changes. What the fuck? UI for text voice recognition will no longer get stuck if another player grabs the Ouija board while you are using it. All motion and sound sensor map icons are now accurately sized on all maps. So that's good. That's really good, actually, because the map icons were wildly inaccurate and it was just completely useless. Now they have properly scaled them with the size of the map. That's really nice. I like that. Environment. Oh, we're reaching the bottom. Here we go. We're almost there. The home stretch. Environment. The player and ghost will now correctly be detected when moving between rooms and floors. This will make evidence gathering much more consistent. Wait, what the fuck? The player and ghost will now correctly be detected when moving between different rooms and floors. This will make evidence gathering much more consistent. That's good, because there's always been kind of wackiness with when the ghost starts moving. Sunny Meadows reverb sounds will no longer turn off while moving around in certain rooms. Okay. Maple Lodge cabin window fingerprints will be visible again. Nice. Removed several locations where the ghost could get out of bounds in Sunny Meadows. Okay. Removed the spot where the ghost could get stuck behind the generator in Camp Woodwind. The camping chair next to the lover's bench on Woodwind is no longer white. All right. All overhead tarps on Maple Campsite now have rain sounds. Reduced visibility of geometry seams where you can see the skybox in Sunny Meadows. Okay. Keys collected will now have the correct name in the journal. Window rain will no longer make things black when viewed from certain angles. Okay, yeah, I had that one time. I already forgot about that. All Brownstone High School windows and doors now have the correct fingerprint material. You can no longer place equipment in the gap under the cabin. Okay, lights will no longer turn on if you turn them off during a flicker. Okay, I didn't even know that was a thing. Added skybox blockers to multiple areas to stop tiny gaps in the geometry that show the sky. Alrighty. Impact sounds will no longer play multiple times at once. That's kind of funny, but alrighty. Loop sounds on doors will no longer play in VR while they are not moving. Skipping the animation when you level up more than once will no longer skip the previous level's unlock pop-ups. That's what I was talking about that I wish they fixed, and here they go. They fixed it. All right, nice. So you get to see all of them. Challenge map names will now be correct. You can no longer complete the ghost photo objectives when there's none. Okay, why am I dying? This is, I think, the 7th time. Like, I'm not even kidding. I think, a legit answer, I think, is 5 times. I think this is the 5th times that they've tried to fix this. I wonder if it actually is fixed this time. It was, so, if you don't know let me give you the lore of this bug. What you used to be able to do is take all 3-star photos, then take a ghost photo for the objective during a hunt, which taking a photo during a hunt is kind of risky because you could miss it. So, you would take all the photos first, have a perfect game setup, then take the ghost photo for the objective, not have any risk of failing the 3-star photo for the perfect game, right? Where you need all 3-star photos, which was a nice trick. Well, it was a kind of glitchy trick, but it was a trick. Then they tried to fix it, or I think they actually did fix it. So they fixed it, then they somehow broke it again, so then you could do it again. Then they fixed it again, and then they broke it again, and this, I think, is the 3rd time that they've tried to fix it. So it was working before, then they fixed it, then they broke it, then they fixed it, then they broke it, and now they have fixed it again. So 3 times have they tried to fix it, and I wonder if it's actually going to stay fixed this time. We're going to find out. We're going to find that out. I have no idea why this is so insanely hard for them to fix, because it just keeps ping-ponging back between fixing and broken. All right. Known issues. Here we go. The agent pathing can be inconsistent during hunts on Point Hope. Okay. Small items can occasionally fall through walls and floors in Point Hope. Interactions can sometimes repeat multiple times. MSAA will cause virtual artifacts when dead. Okay, I have to mention, I am pretty disappointed that they didn't add the removal of low-star photos. Like, what the fuck? We've been hearing about this for so long. Why isn't that here? I know that's a small thing when we got a new map and all this other stuff, but yeah, that is kind of, that really feels like it's missing from here. Like, why isn't that a thing? We've been waiting for that for so long. That should literally be like, add one single UI element that you click on. Maybe it's hard to balance or something, but it should be so easy to add. Why not add it? Because right now, photos are in such a bad spot. Like, I hate the photo system at the moment. It used to be my favorite thing of all time. I used to like try for perfect games every single game. I was like juggling the photos, taking photos was really skillful. But now what everything does, or what everyone does, is place 9 salt on the ground, get the ghost to walk in the salt, take 9 photos, take the bone photo or any other consistent photo, boom, you got 10 3-star photos. Easy as that. And you can say, why not do it in another way? Why not do that? Well, because the photo system fucking sucks sometimes. Sometimes you take a photo of a ghost and then it says, oh, here's a 1-star salt photo. Fuck you, I guess. And that just is super annoying. And because of that, the photo system not entirely working as intended, it just causes the player to be stupid if they were to try to take risks with the photo system. I still do it sometimes, and I always get punished for it every time. The smartest thing, and really the only viable thing, is just to take 9 salt photos, which, honestly, I guess if you're not going to do anything else, at least just nerf salt somewhat, because I think it's kind of silly that you can take 9 salt photos and it just completely, like, trivializes taking 10 photos, because that used to be such a skillful thing that you had to do. Now it's just super easy. I really wish we could go back to a more skillful photo system. So yeah, that's my TED talk about photos. I hope they change it around. I hope they give the option to delete it. But anyway, let's go over the main change. Is Point Hope I'm super excited to hop on this. I know this is an incredibly long patch notes video, literally an hour long. I'm sorry, but I hope you just were doing something else or just chilling alongside with me. Interesting to know all the different changes, because I wanted to talk about what was different. So yeah, Point Hope is obviously going to be amazing. I can't wait to find it. We have some slight progression tweaks that has also buffed the large and medium maps, which is cool. We have a bunch of tweaks to the items, specifically the Thermo Tier 1 is slightly nerfed, and the Tier 2 and Tier 3 are massively buffed. And then we have some more trophies, new trophies, which is really cool. And the biggest change of all is we now have an extra inventory slot for the igniter, which is really good. And I didn't even really think about this being a thing, so that's super fun. I like that. So yeah, those are the main changes. Let me know what you think. I'm gonna try this out tonight at normal time, so join the Discord or just check your YouTube notifications if you haven't already enabled those, because I will be going live for this. And I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think about all this. If you're not subscribed, please do so. If you like the video, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. And I hope to see it tonight on stream. Thank you so much. Bye, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.